All right, welcome back to the Ask Mama podcast, where we get some great advice from my mama. I'm Melody Angel.
I'm Mama Stephanie.
And I'm Lamar.
And this is a special episode. We're going to be doing a recap of the debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Trump. We just watched it. Minutes ago.
Minutes.
Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to get this video while it was fresh in our minds. Mm-hmm. How do you feel? Let's just go on. Let's not go on points of politics. We'll get to that. But, how do you feel after watching what we just watched?
I feel very good. Kamala was outstanding to me. I have a very positive, optimistic view now as far as her performance, because I had a little anxiety about it. And I feel absolutely incredible right now.
How you feel?
I'm a little bit exhausted by it.
Yeah.
It was a roller coaster of emotions for me, I will say, for sure. But I am hopeful and optimistic about what's to come in this next election. Mm-hmm. I think that maybe the tides have now started to turn in favor of common sense, of logic.
I wanna agree with y'all, but for me, and I do agree with you a little bit on the end of the optimism that Kamala, shared was really felt. I felt that. Mm-hmm. But the pathetic vitriol that spewed out of Trump.
Yeah.
He is not alone in his thinking. Okay, and that's what you really realize when you're watching him. He has supporters because these people think like he thinks. Mm-hmm. And to know that there are that many people in this country that think he did a great job tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Is a terrifying thing. Mm-hmm. Because that means we live in this world where these people are just walking around. Mm-hmm. And they really want all of us exterminated, and so on one end, it's if we get enough people with what you talking about, common sense, we'll be okay. We'll survive this. We'll survive this Trump era, which is probably just the lowest of the low.
It is.
But there's still a part of me that's how many of them are there, though?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Because I don't feel like I know. Mm-hmm. And when you go online and you see all the vitriol coming from, you could just say something about Kamala or say something. When I bring up Breonna Taylor every day, whatever you're doing that's positive, that you're trying to uplift your people or do something good for your community, you get all this hate.
Yeah.
That comes from the Trumpers.
Right.
It's insane.
Right.
So how many of them are there? So that's how I felt. I felt like, oh my God, I don't know if I know what's really going on out here. Mm-hmm. And it's a scary thought because they're all nuts because he is nuts.
Yeah, that was crazy to
Bonafide.
watch.
If we go down the list.
Please, let's.
They first started off with the economy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Then they went, I'm going to just go down the list right quick. Then they talked about the tax plan. Right. Then they talked about tariffs. He said tariffs, and that's in the same realm of taxes, but we ain't going to get into that. Yep. So then they talked about, he called her a Marxist, which is, talking about socialism and communism, crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. He talked about the wall and the southern border. This man, if we had a clicker where we could say, hey, how many times you going to say southern border? He said something about the southern border at every point
It's crazy.
of the debate.
Yes, we would be clicked out.
Okay? It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we'll just keep going. Then they talked about Roe v. Wade. They talked about, the Supreme Court, how he put them 3 justices in and overturned Roe v. Wade. Then he said that we out here killing babies after 9 months.
Yeah. Right.
And I was like, and this is like,
After
we're like
9 months.
10, 15 minutes into this hour and a half debate.
Yes.
And this man talking about we out here killing babies.
We're not. That's murder.
And there are people who believe this. There are people who support him and believe
That's what I'm saying.
this.
But do they really? I feel like they don't believe it. I feel like they just use the lies for their agenda, which is the Project 2025.
Right.
I believe that everything he said, he knows is a lie, and so does his followers. But they're literally just using the lies to propel themselves of this is why we're fighting, because we're trying to save the babies.
Right. When
And,
really what it is I'm a hateful
yes.
son of a you know what.
Right.
And so that's why.
And I need an agenda that hides the fact that I'm a horrible human being.
Right.
Yeah.
So they have to stand on something, so they make stuff up. So, okay, then
Terrible.
it's so much, but this is just our recap, y'all. This is just us saying it was a lot. It was nuts. It was funny.
Yes.
The clapbacks that Kamala gave.
Kamala. Yes.
My favorite. Let's do our favorite clapback. This is my favorite clapback that Kamala gave tonight. She said, he was talking about, I fired them. I fired these people. I fired that people. And then she came back with 81 million people fired you. And I was like, yes.
Yes. Snap, snap.
Yes.
One of my favorite was, you're not running against Biden. You're running against me.
That's
Yeah,
right.
because he kept on bringing up Biden. And then even towards the end,
Yes.
he brought up his son. It's like, dude, they ain't here.
Right.
No.
Are you see now?
Exactly. But see.
Now we talking about how old you are. Because
Exactly.
you was like somewhere else.
Well, see, and when you base a campaign off of you're old, you're incompetent, you're senile, you're
And now you with standing next to somebody that's half your age.
exactly.
That's right.
And so you got to still keep jumping in. What was your favorite Kamala clapback?
You adore strong men, but hold on, let me get this right.
Yeah,
You adore strong men instead of upholding democracy.
That was it.
Yeah, because that led to my second
Yes.
favorite moment when she said, they're manipulating you. The dictators like Putin,
That's right.
Yes.
they're manipulating you. That's why they want you to be president,
That's
bro.
right.
That's why they want you.
That's right.
Because you're easily led.
That's
as
right.
my grandmama would say.
That's
She
right.
would.
You are easy to manipulate. So,
And-
of course, they want you in the highest office in the land.
That's
Exactly.
right. Because with all they have to do is flatter him.
That's it.
Yes.
And he'll give them
Yeah,
favors.
that's right.
Exactly.
That's
I mean,
what she
she
said.
put this man together. Then
she
talking
did.
about race, then he doubled down on the race issue, talking
Yes,
about,
he
I
did.
mean, I read something where she said she wasn't black, and then I read something where she is black. I mean, I don't care either way. Then
Black.
what are you bringing it up for? It
Exactly.
was so insane.
He's
And I'm
sick.
sitting there thinking to myself, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
Who? This is what I'll say. It must be so embarrassing for, I'ma just say, the white population at this point, because what I witnessed was like a white man going out for a job he has no qualifications for. And the black woman is overqualified for the job.
Right.
And she's judged way up here, and he's judged way down there. Like
right.
if he gets his own name right, score.
Right.
You know, and it's so real to life.
That's
And
right.
I feel like a lot of white people just don't get that.
Right.
They don't understand it.
Right.
Because they ain't never had to really see it. But we have all seen it when we go out for our jobs and they start talking about this DEI stuff and all of that stuff and how much better we have to be at our jobs to get our jobs.
That's right.
Get your
That's
foot
right.
in the door.
To even get the audition or the interview for the job. The requirements for us are so outstanding.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
And it was just on full display in this debate.
I agree.
My thing was the simplest questions they'd ask him. Do you want Ukraine to win the war? He never answered.
He never answered.
Never answered
you hit on
any
it.
question.
He didn't answer one question all
Nothing.
night, y'all.
No.
Listen, any breakdown you watch, any clip of this debate you watch, or if you watch the whole thing, I swear to you, I wrote down in my notes at the end, he did not answer any questions.
He didn't.
Nope.
None.
No.
I've never seen anybody, and you know why? Because he doesn't have any plans.
Nope.
There are no plans, y'all.
He mentioned nothing.
Or
He says he has one, or he's, they're conceptualized or something.
Right.
He said,
Yeah.
we thinking on it.
Yeah.
He's like, what?
Yeah, about
what do you
the,
think? He said, well, I'm not president yet. I said, you're supposed to have them. It's like coming to school without your homework.
Right.
Or you do have a plan, and it's so awful that
Yeah.
you cannot announce it.
It's
He doesn't have
unbelievable.
one.
No, yeah.
This man, every time he was
mention it.
asked a question, he turned it back around and would say something that the Democrats did that was a lie, or
Sure
something
did.
that Biden did that was a lie, or something
Yeah.
that Kamala did that was a lie. He literally never answered a question, and he never had any plans,
No
no
policies,
agenda,
nothing.
no policies, no plan of action. He was asked straightforward, what would you do with the Roe v. Wade bill if it came back and they wanted to put it back in place? Would you do it or not? It's never going to come to that. What? That's not answering the question.
Nuts.
Like, literally did the same thing with Russia.
Yeah.
It would have never happened if I was there because I would have negotiated a deal. That's not the question. The
No.
question is, how would you get this back on track? The same thing with Gaza.
Yeah.
How would you get
Never would
that
happen.
war to stop for Israel and Palestine? Nothing. On the other hand, Kamala
Nothing.
had answers for she has, and whether you agree, whether you agree or not with her policies,
Yeah.
she has them.
Does
Right.
have them, and they're great policies.
Right.
to
She
me.
has them.
Right.
And we have to start there. We can't start with somebody who don't have them.
Exactly.
Yes, nothing.
Donald Trump is a pawn, and his plan is going to
really
be
is.
whatever the plan of the powers around him that be say it is. That's what it is. That's why you can't
And that's
come up with
Project
any
2025,
Right.
which
Exactly.
he tried to say he ain't had nothing to do with, he
Oh.
don't know nothing about, and said he ain't read it. And I'm
No.
sure he didn't read it because it's 900
No.
pages and that man don't read nothing.
No.
The longest thing he read is the 50 characters you put in a tweet.
Yeah. It was unbelievable. If I hadn't watched, I wouldn't have believed what I was being told. I mean, what an incompetence.
They talked
was.
about immigration.
Over and over and over.
He
Well,
did. I mean,
he
it was
did.
brought up
Yeah.
once, but
Yep.
he brought it up himself
Every
at
question.
every turn.
Oh, yeah.
When they asked about Roe v. Wade, he brought up Central America.
Mm-hmm.
When he asked about the economy, he brought up Central America.
Yeah.
When he was asked about fracking, he brought up Central America. When he was asked about whether he would do a peaceful transition of power,
right?
he brought up Central America. When he was asked if he regrets anything he did or did not do on January 6th, he brought up Central America.
There you go.
And took no responsibility for January 6th.
Right.
And what else did he do? Israel, Hamas. He brought up Central America. He brought
Yeah.
up the border at every single turn. I've never seen anything like this.
And I do commend the moderators for
Oh, they
trying
did. They
to
did a job.
fact
Yeah, they
check
did.
him.
They
but
did.
one of my favorite fact checks was when Lindsey Davis said, no city in the United States aborts babies at 9 months.
Right.
No, because see, nobody at that point it's not even an abortion. It's
Murder.
literal killing.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you're murdering a
killed.
child
She said
that has been
doesn't
born.
happen in any
Nowhere.
city in the U.S.
Nowhere.
Nowhere in the United States.
No, but see, I think a part of him controlling his base is using scare tactics.
That's
all.
fake.
Yeah, because that's what that's the whole idea is. You know, he's speaking to the portion of white people that are under a delusion that it's the minorities taken away from you.
Right.
Like if it wasn't for the blacks and the Mexicans, you would have everything.
Right.
And you would have no problems if it wasn't for them. And that's what she means by that's that old talk. That's what they've been saying since they stole us and brought us over here.
There you go.
They've been blaming us for anything that go wrong in their lives.
That's right. That same playbook.
And it's the same playbook. That's why she kept saying that. So if y'all were a little lost when she was saying that, that's where that comes from. They've been blaming us for anything that goes wrong in their lives since we got over here.
That's right.
That was ridiculous.
They talked about Obamacare.
Yeah.
He brought up the southern border. If I could, what you gonna do?
And this is a person that is up for president. I mean, he's right. He's a candidate.
Yeah.
He used to be president.
He used to be president.
Mediocrity. This is what happens when privilege meets mediocrity.
Yeah.
Because this is what you get when you give opportunity, this blanket opportunity to a race of people.
Yeah.
Whether they've earned it or deserve it or not.
Or capable of even obtaining it. Or,
it don't matter.
Yeah.
This is what can happen. You can have a buffoon
He is that.
sit in the highest office in the land.
Yep.
And that's why I keep telling people this whole privilege thing, we got to shut it down.
Yeah.
Because this is when you don't earn it. That's
You
why
shouldn't
he has
have it.
no respect for the American people. He has no respect for the democracy.
Nope.
And of course, he has no respect for black people.
He didn't have to work for
absolutely.
He
nothing.
ain't got to do nothing but exist. And he gets whatever he wants.
That's right.
Another thing Kamala brought up as far as Russia and the Ukraine war, she talked to the Polish people in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And said to all 800,000 of y'all,
You're next.
if he was in office, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv, and he would have his eyes set on Poland next.
Yeah, because he wants Europe.
He
That's
wants
right.
Europe.
He wants all of Europe to be Russia.
That's
right. So
Because he is a dictator.
That's
that's
right.
exactly
and that's
correct.
what dictators do. They conquer.
That's right.
So
Or
right.
they're taken off the board. That's it. Those are your only options.
That's right.
With somebody like that. And then he tried to blame her for the war in Ukraine, talking about how she went over there to negotiate and it blew up in her face.
Right.
She has never met Putin.
Nope.
She's never negotiated with him because we don't negotiate with psychopaths,
Right.
first of all. She went over there to talk to the president of the Ukraine to help him defend himself.
Right.
Because we have this little thing that's, I don't know, protecting the whole world from extinction called
Right.
NATO.
Right.
NATO. That
And
he
he's
wants.
trying to get out of NATO, which will literally mean the end of everything.
He
I
gonna
just
kill us.
need everybody to understand that NATO is an agreement.
That's right.
It is an agreement with all of the countries that have any semblance of sense that we're not gonna blow each other up.
Right.
Everybody can, but we've agreed that we're not. And we're going to watch each other's back.
Right.
That's what NATO
That's
is.
all it is.
And anybody trying to get rid of that, is a psychopath.
It really
It
is.
reminds me of them Netflix documentaries on all these serial killers that want everybody dead.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
this dude is on that level.
We would be a sitting duck. Let's talk about him not referring to her by her name the entire debate.
All night. He
And
never
you know what?
said
And,
it.
and it started from the jump because when they first came out, he did not want to shake her hand.
No.
He was
Did
not
not.
coming. He went straight to his thing, to his podium.
Yep.
She came around and put her hand out and forced him to shake her hand. And then she introduced herself.
That's right.
Kamala
And said
Harris. Kamala Harris.
Yes, she
right.
did.
I mean, she a boss.
Yes, she is.
She did
She
that.
is a boss.
Yes, she is.
Okay? And she wasn't scared.
She wasn't.
She showed absolutely no fear.
Not a
She
semblance.
showed bewilderment, but that was because he was
Right.
saying some crazy
Yeah,
stuff.
oh, yeah.
She
But
was in,
then
yeah.
I really don't think, I was telling y'all before, I really don't think he understands how awful he looked to women as a whole
Yeah.
by not using this woman's
Never
name.
did.
That's right.
She.
By calling her,
Her.
she and her the entire night.
And nobody in his camp obviously advised him.
Well,
He
no,
don't
he don't
care.
listen to
Wrong
nobody.
decision.
He
But-
don't listen to nobody.
Yeah.
You
because
can't tell him that.
if they advise him something
Yeah,
different than what he
he ain't
wants, he'll
gonna do
fire
it.
Yeah,
them.
but he
Right.
intentionally did it because, like I'm saying, he doesn't even see
No.
how much that will alienate him even more
From women.
from just women in general.
yeah.
Cause we all know what that feels like when a man don't use your name.
Yeah,
like,
that's outrageous.
yeah, where she at? Where you going?
Her.
Where
She.
ass cutter come in?
Her fault.
I have
Sure.
a name. You know, it's about respect. So instead of, so he took it a step further because he always like intentionally gets her name wrong.
Right.
Right.
So he took it a step further by not
I
even
won't
using
say it
her
at
name.
all.
Say it right.
She doesn't, she's not going to get my respect. Dude, the way she was looking at you,
She don't need it. Okay.
She
she was
don't.
looking at you like this pathetic
Yeah.
I feel
Orange.
sorry for you.
Yeah.
man.
This little man.
Little small.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And when
Teeny,
she called him
teeny.
weak.
When
Oh.
she called him, when she listen,
Think
she
he lost
did
it.
a lot. She was slicing and dicing
Oh,
him.
yeah.
And every time she said he was weak. She said people leave early from his rallies. All that
Ooh-wee.
stuff. He got so crazy.
Yeah, he
He
lost.
could not let it go. And every question he would come back. And speaking of weak, ain't
Yeah.
nobody speaking of weak no more, man.
That little pathetic ego.
Oh, he-
It was
so-
like watching, you know what it reminded me
crazy.
of? It reminded me of like grammar school.
Yeah.
Not even junior high, like grammar school.
Kindergarten.
Like the boys,
He's
when
a
the boys
crazy
would
man.
pick on you, you know, they'd be like, you shut up, you're stupid, you're fat. It's like, get in your corner.
Right.
Ooh, he crazy.
How old are you, man?
5, obviously.
It was.
I wouldn't have my daddy out like that.
Now listen.
Mm-mm.
Of course, we're all sitting here as people who obviously, you know, are not voting for this dude,
No.
right? I don't feel that this debate changed anything. I think the people who know what Trump is, and they're not voting for him. I think that the people who know Kamala, they're already in the Kamala camp, and nothing's going to change there either.
Right.
I think what this comes down to is the people who weren't even watching tonight, which are the people who don't vote, who aren't concerned.
That's
the
crazy.
people who we're still trying to convince that voting matters and all of this. I think that's what it's going to come down to, because like there's no such thing as I don't think that there's any such thing as like undecided voter. I think it's the voters, and I think those voters are split from the Trumpers to sane people, and then you have the portion of our society, because Joy Reid said a few days ago that we're a low voting democracy. and she's correct.
That's
Only about
unfortunate.
40 to 60% of us vote in
Outrageous.
an election. And if that were different, this dude wouldn't stand a chance.
Yeah.
Because anybody with common sense would never vote for him.
No.
But it's because so many less people vote that we're in this situation where we know there's no way this man should win, but we've already seen him win. And we
Right.
saw him win before because it wasn't enough people voting, and then the electoral college stuff and the whole thing. Like, it wasn't enough of us engaged and using our power because for whatever reason these people don't believe that they have power.
Right.
And that's what it comes down to, because that's what I always hear them say. How do we, because I'm not giving up, but we need to make sure that we're in agreement that focusing in on voting registration for the next 56 or 7 days is just all we should be doing.
Yeah. Well, me personally, I believe that and I think we touched on this the last episode a little bit. I think that we need to have unity within more unity within the group of people that understand the power of the vote, right?
Yeah.
Because that's power in numbers.
Right.
And so if we could amass and then reach out to the ones that, hey, listen, this is why we need to vote. Not only do you need to get registered,
Right.
but this is why we need to vote. This is why it's important. Why do you think there's voter suppression? Why do you think that, we had to fight for the right anyway?
Right.
Right? So understanding the importance of it and understanding that if you don't, this is why you feel like there is no power in it, because you don't exercise.
No,
Right.
you gotta get out and vote.
And education.
I did see some people earlier today that were undecided still. I mean, in my mind, I think, how can that even be? But they claim they don't know enough about Kamala and they want to see the debate. So anybody who was undecided, I mean, you
But
really
I think
shouldn't be.
what I'm saying is I don't think undecided means what they're saying it means. What I'm saying is I think undecided voters mean I'm either going to vote for Kamala or I'm not going to vote. I don't believe these people are looking at it like I'm going to vote for Kamala or Trump. I don't think that, because when you talk to them and you say, well, so you going to vote for Trump? Nah, I ain't going to vote for Trump. So if you're undecided, that to me means I'm either going to vote or I'm not going to vote.
Right.
And if I vote, I'm going to vote for Kamala.
Right.
And so I think that there's a lot of people like that, and they don't get talked about. I think the only people that get talked about is the quote-unquote undecided voter that's saying Trump or Kamala. But I think there's a bigger portion, from what I've seen myself, there's a bigger portion of people who are like, they either going to vote and vote for Kamala or they're not going to vote.
It's unfortunate.
And that is just, I know it's crazy, but I'm
nuts.
trying to be open because I want to figure this out. Their communication needs to happen here, because they're missing something if they don't understand
Yeah, they missing it.
what is going on right now.
What's
That
at
it's
stake?
not about you. People are real selfish right now, especially in it. They're all looking what they gonna do for me? What they gonna do for me? Why don't you think about the kids that's coming
Right.
up? The babies that have been born. Babies are born every day.
Right.
What about them?
Right.
What are we leaving them?
Right.
I think people are just so selfish
Ooh.
and so concerned with what they gonna get out of it. Instead of looking at the bigger picture, we got a man that wants to be a dictator.
He sure does.
That loves dictators, that reaches out to them and says that they're amazing. And that is what is at stake here. Whether or not you agree 100% with Kamala Harris's platform is irrelevant. It's time to be an adult
Yeah.
and
Right.
do for your people
Do
and
the
for
right
these
thing.
kids, and put somebody in office that deserves to be there, that knows how to do the job. And then why don't you cultivate somebody, lift somebody up that you want to root for, that you want to vote for, that you want to get behind. But to sit up here and nitpick at this woman who just wants to keep democracy going,
that's it,
means that you are a selfish person, and I ain't got time for it.
And don't forget, this man said, if he doesn't win, it's going to be a bloodbath.
That's what he said.
Now, what does that mean?
And then he said he didn't say it.
Right,
this
right.
man said he didn't say stuff all night, even though everything he said is on tape.
Or what I meant by that really was...
Or if you would have let the other sentence after that come, then you would have...
We heard you.
Did you not say bloodbath?
Exactly.
Said the whole thing. So
I think what it is miseducation. As far as these people who are kind of on the fence, like I'm undecided about whether I'm going to vote or not vote, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's
That's
miscommunication.
insane.
I think we have been conditioned to subconsciously kind of think the same, and if you're going outside of what the mass thinks, it's like the cancer culture, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot, and so what I mean by that is, if I vote for you, you have to be in alignment with every single thing that I think is morally right.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just a
realistic.
And it's a selfish, immature mentality.
Certainly is.
And it has no business in governing. This is about being, an adult.
Right.
You have to be the adult in the room and say, does she hit all the points that I want her to hit? Is she doing everything I want? No, I can tell you right now, she is not doing everything I want her to do. But I've never seen a president. Obama didn't do everything that I wanted to do. His plan wasn't everything that I wanted it to be. And I love him.
Nobody
but
will.
no president in the history of presidents has been everything to everyone.
Not only a president, no relationship you'll ever have will be that way.
And it's just an excuse.
None.
Right.
You're using it as an excuse. I'm so sick of all of the petty stuff. Like, I just got to say this. We going to end it and everything. We got to end it. But like the Amanda Seals thing, she really pissed me off. Because it's like at a time where we're supposed to be coming together, uniting, and saying we are done with this Trump era. We need to move on. Like this woman is saying, turn the page.
Turn the page, for God's sake.
And then you come and talk about, I think she's disingenuous. It's like, shut up. All of the hate. It's like you cannot get anything done without your own people coming out the side with jealousy and hate. And it's like, that's that oppressive mindset.
Yes.
While you sitting here talking, you are downplaying the fact that everything is at stake right now.
We ain't got time for it.
And you sitting here talking trash about the only person that stood up and put their life on the line. That woman, Vice President Kamala Harris, has put her life on the line. Understand this. Understand. They want her dead.
Yes, every day.
Every single, she put her life on the line and her family's life on the line. And what does she do it for? For this democracy. Because she believes in it. And has dedicated her life, whether you like it or not, she's dedicated her life to the law. The law of the land. And you put respect on this woman's name. Because you wouldn't do it. You don't even want to vote. And you want to come for her.
This is common sense election.
So,
common sense.
We could go on all night. But, as an ending thing, I felt that this debate was phenomenal work by Vice President Kamala Harris. I think it's one of the best debates on her. Or if you could just split it and subtract his nonsense out of it, she spoke to the American people the entire night.
She did.
And she gave them a clear view of her plans of action when she takes office.
That's it.
And that's all you would want from a presidential debate. On his side, he said absolutely nothing. He lied all night and answered no questions and has no plan.
Same thing he usually does. a scripture, Revelation. All liars will have their part in the lake of fire. I've never seen such lying,
God.
but that's for the Christians.
That's all right.
Boop. I think now is the time for us to put petty differences aside,
Yeah.
use common sense, use logic, and make the right decision, not for you individually, but for our democracy as a whole and the future of this country moving forward.
And that is our review. That's our recap of what we just watched just a half hour ago. The presidential debate. Harris v. Trump.
Ugh.
And we will see y'all in our next episode of the Ask Mama podcast. Be good. Register to vote.
Please,
Then vote.
please,
Vote your conscience.
please.
And, peace. Peace and
Yeah.
love. Peace and love.
Peace.
This was a re-slap. I like re-slap better.
A re-slap.
A
Oh,
re-slap.
re-slap.
Not cap. Slap.
Slap. Because somebody.
She verbally slapped him.
That's right. Yes,
She
she
re-slapped
did.
all night long.
All night.
And I mean not slap, but
No.
back slap, like
Backhanded.
pimp slap.
Pimp.
No,
Where my money?
they think you stupid. They think
Not
you
with
stupid.
my money. It was a re-slap.
All right, y'all. We'll see y'all in the next one. Good
See you
night.
later.
Bye.